Welcome to Backbone Unlimited. My name is Matt Hartsky. In this episode, we're diving into one of the most common questions I hear from Western hunters, especially guys who've chased one species but are new to the other. What's the difference between mule deer hunting and elk hunting? Now, if you've hunted both, you already know it's not just the size of the animal, it's the way they move, the terrain they prefer, how they respond to pressure, the tactics that work and the ones that don't. I've spent more than 3 decades chasing both species, high country mule deer in velvet, bugling bulls in September, late season rifle hunts, and everything in between. And I can tell you right now, you can't hunt them the same and expect consistent results. So today, I'm breaking down 5 key differences between mule deer and elk hunting that every serious hunter needs to understand. These are the real-world differences I've learned from boots on the ground experience, not just what sounds good on paper. We're going to cover behavior, terrain preferences, pressure response, calling and interaction, and how to adjust your mindset for each species. If you're transitioning between species or just want to sharpen your edge and become a more versatile hunter, this one's for you. Let's get into it. Our first section, we're going to talk about how elk are social and mule deer are solitary, most of the time. One of the biggest behavioral differences between elk and mule deer is how they interact with each other and how that changes the way you hunt them. Elk are herd animals. They live in groups. Cows, calves, satellite bulls all move together, especially during the rut. Even outside the breeding season, they tend to travel in small herds or bachelor groups. That means when you spot or locate one elk, there's often more nearby. And it also means you're dealing with more eyes, more ears, more noses. Getting close to elk is a test of your stealth, your setup, and your ability to beat not just one animal, but sometimes a dozen or more. On the other hand, mature mule deer bucks are often alone, especially during early archery season. You'll find them bedded solo or in small bachelor groups with a few other bucks. They're more reclusive, more calculated, and often stick to the shade and cover until conditions are perfect. And during the rut, sure, mule deer bucks will go looking for does, but it's not like a bugling elk herd with chaos and vocalizations. Mule deer rut activity is usually more subtle. You'll find a buck trailing a hot doe quietly, checking scrapes or cruising ridge lines, but rarely blowing up the woods like a screaming bull. So what does that mean for your approach? With elk, you can use their social nature against them, calling, possibly decoying, or stalking multiple animals based on the herd's movement. You can key off of vocalizations and body language. There's a rhythm and a hierarchy you can learn to manipulate. With mule deer, it's often you versus one animal. There's no backup plan, no second bull to chase if you blow the stalk. It's a precision game, and the odds are a little bit tighter. You need to be sharper, slower, more intentional. Next up, let's talk about where they like to live, because mule deer and elk don't always play in the same parts of the mountain. There are terrain and elevation preferences. The second big difference here between mule deer and elk is where they prefer to live and how that changes your tactics, your glassing strategy, and even your gear choices. Let's start with mule deer. Early season high country mule deer love open alpine basins, rocky ridgelines, and windswept country above tree line. I've found bachelor groups bedded on knife ridges at 11,000 feet, tucked into cliff edges where you'd never expect an animal to try to lay down and live. And that terrain matters because it makes spot and stalk a dominant strategy. These bucks are often visible at first and last light, feeding in open pockets of alpine grass or crawling up out of avalanche chutes. If you're willing to put in the time behind the glass and pick apart the shade line, you can often find them. But once rifle season rolls around or pressure hits, mature mule deer will drop elevation fast. They head into broken, nasty country, steep timbered cuts, rimrock benches, and thick sage where they can disappear in the blink of an eye. They'll bed in spots with multiple escape routes, watching the wind, the sun, and the pressure zones all at once. Now, compare that to elk. Elk love edges, transitional habitat, north-facing timber for bedding, open meadows or burns for feeding, benches with a little roll to them where they can move unseen, and during the rut, they're often on the move, covering huge ground between cow groups and water sources. Elk aren't usually above tree line, especially not in groups. You might find an old bull way up high in July or in a national park, but by September, they're using mid-elevation terrain with a blend of cover and food. They want shade, grass, security, and space. They also tend to follow patterns based on thermals and terrain. I've watched elk bed on benches with the morning sun on their back and the wind in their face, then slowly feed down into drainages as the evening thermals drop. And here's the practical takeaway. When you're mule deer hunting, your glass is your best friend. You might spend hours just watching one buck and planning a single stalk. You're playing the long game in open terrain, one that requires patience, elevation, and a sniper's mindset. When you're elk hunting, it's often more dynamic, more physical. You're covering ground, moving with the wind, adapting to their movement. Elk don't just sit tight and wait. They feed, talk, relocate, and if you're in the wrong terrain for the time of day or the time of year, you'll never catch up. So as a hunter, you need to match your terrain strategy to the species. Don't waste time glassing for mule deer in the wrong elevation band. Don't go blowing cow calls in wide open alpine country hoping to bring in elk that aren't there. Know the terrain, know the season, and know the animals. Next, we'll get into one of the most critical differences between these two hunts, how elk and mule deer respond to pressure, and why that should completely change the way you hunt them. Now, the pressure response, how they handle human intrusion is different. If you spent any time on public land during a western hunting season, you already know pressure changes everything. And one of the biggest differences between mule deer and elk is how they respond when that pressure hits. Let's start with elk. Elk are social, vocal, and often curious. But once the Orange Army rolls in or archery hunters start stacking in every drainage blowing calls, they don't just run, they relocate. And I mean big miles. I've seen herds move out of entire basins overnight after just one blown stalk or a single bad setup. They're smart, but they're not subtle. When pressured, elk tend to go deeper, get quieter, and move at night. That's why so many hunters say the elk just went cold a few days into the season. They didn't vanish. They just shifted their behavior to survive. They'll hole up in thick north-facing timber, stop bugling, start feeding in the dark, and, bedding in hard-to-reach spots by sunrise. And if they get bumped repeatedly, they'll leave the entire unit, especially in areas with lots of roads or easy access. So when you're elk hunting pressured ground, you've got to be willing to go further, hunt smarter, and change your timing. Early mornings, midday ambushes, slip in silent, hunt them where other people don't. Let's talk about mule deer because they handle pressure a little bit differently. Mule deer don't usually flee the country. They hide, and they're better at it than most people realize. A mature mule deer buck can let 5 hunters walk past at 40 yards and never twitch. He'll bed in a shadow behind a rock or under a tree that's just barely wide enough to break up his silhouette, and he'll sit there all day long. When pressured, mule deer go nocturnal, tighten their home range, and lock into microhabitats that give them cover, visibility, and multiple exits. They don't get noisy. They don't show themselves. They just vanish into terrain that many hunters don't take the time to pick apart. And that's the key difference. Elk leave, mule deer disappear. As a hunter, that changes how you play the game. If you're after elk, you better be willing to relocate and find where they moved to, because chances are they're not coming back anytime soon. You've got to read pressure zones, glass the escape routes, and hunt those hidden sanctuaries deep in the timber or steep drainages other people overlook or won't go. If you're after mule deer, it's more about slowing down and digging in. Don't move on too soon. Hunt those thick edges, glass into shadows with patience. Be surgical in how you grid the terrain, because the buck didn't leave, he just tucked himself in and waited for the pressure to pass. Understanding how each species reacts to pressure helps you make smarter decisions in the field, whether that means shifting your camp, adjusting your timing, or rethinking your setup strategy. In the next section, we'll dive into the fourth major difference, how interaction works. Because when it comes to calling, engagement, and communication, elk and mule deer couldn't be more different. Interaction and engagement comes down to vocalization versus stealth. This is where the difference between elk and mule deer really becomes obvious, and honestly where a lot of crossover hunters make critical mistakes, because if you're used to elk hunting and try to bring that same energy into a mule deer hunt, you're going to blow a lot of opportunities before they ever happen. Elk are vocal. They bugle, they chuckle, they cow call, they rake trees, they glunk, they announce their presence, posture for dominance, and interact with the herd audibly. That makes them interactive. And it gives us hunters an opportunity to engage. You can locate elk by bugling, you can challenge bulls, you can simulate cow groups, rake to simulate sparring, or use location bugles to move in. It's an active conversation, and when it's done right, it brings bulls in on a string. And that's why elk hunting is often described as interactive. It feels like a back and forth, a chess match. You say something, the bull says something back. You make a move, he makes a move. Now let's contrast that with mule deer. Mule deer don't vocalize. They're quiet, calculated, private. There's no bugle, no cow call, no call-in tactics that consistently work. Occasionally during the rut, you might hear some grunting or see a buck chasing does, and I've even tried it, and sometimes you can get a response if they're fired up enough, but even then, it's usually subtle and hit or miss, which means your entire strategy for mule deer has to shift from engagement to observation and stealth. You're not trying to provoke a reaction. You're not trying to call anything in. You're trying to locate the animal, study his movement, and get close without him ever knowing you're there. You've got to glass carefully, watch his behavior, and plan a route that uses cover, wind, and timing to slip into bow range, because that buck isn't going to walk to you. If you make a mistake, you won't hear a bark or a scream. You'll just see a blur of gray vanishing into the timber. The best mule deer hunters I know hardly make a sound in the woods. They're shadows, ghosts. They're masters of body control, patience, silence. They treat every movement like it's one that will decide the outcome, because it is. So here's the takeaway. Elk give you the gift of communication. Mule deer demand the discipline of restraint. If you're calling to elk, you're engaging in a strategy that can create close encounters. If you're thinking about some type of interaction with the mule deer, you're wasting your time, or worse, giving yourself away. This difference should shape your gear choices, your pacing, and your expectations. Elk hunting might involve more aggressive movement, more back and forth, and more adaptability mid-hunt. Mule deer hunting is slower, more methodical, and more dependent on planning every step before you make it. In the final section, let's go into talking about the most important differences of all, your mindset. Because switching from elk to mule deer, or vice versa, isn't just about tactics. It's about how you mentally approach the hunt from start to finish. The mindset shift needs to be tactical versus surgical. This last difference might be the most important one, and it's not about gear, terrain, or even the animal behavior that we have already talked about. It's about how you think, because the mindset you bring into an elk hunt is not the same mindset that leads to consistent success on mule deer, and vice versa. Elk hunting is tactical. You're responding to vocalizations, you're analyzing movement, you're managing thermals, locating herds, navigating encounters, and making split-second decisions in dynamic environments. Elk hunting is often fast-paced, especially during the rut. It rewards the hunter who's aggressive but smart, who can move fast and adapt quickly and think a few steps ahead. It's a physical game and a mental one. You've got to be tough, but you also have to read the terrain, understand pressure, and shift when the elk shift. It's chess with moving pieces that don't stop moving. Now contrast that with mule deer hunting. Mule deer hunting, especially for mature bucks, it's about reaction, it's about precision, it's surgical. You'll glass a buck at 1,000 yards, watch him bed, analyze the wind, figure out his escape routes, and then take hours, sometimes an entire day, just to close the distance without being detected. And it's slow, it's quiet, it's a mental grind. You're not waiting for action, you're creating it, but only when the odds are in your favor. The best mule deer hunters are those who can sit on a glassing knob for 10 hours and not get impatient, who can crawl the last 40 yards over shale and sage without blowing it, who can wait for the right angle, the right moment, the right wind, and only then make their move. And that's what separates the two at the deepest level. Elk hunting rewards the tactician. Mule deer hunting demands the surgeon. If you don't adjust your mindset accordingly, you're going to struggle. You can bull your way into a mule deer stalk, and you can't wait passively for elk to necessarily walk into your lap. You have to know which species you're after and bring the mental game that matches it. And when you do, when you finally put all those pieces together and punch a tag on your terms, whether it's a velvet high country buck or a screaming September bull, there's no feeling like it in the world. Both elk and mule deer offer incredible challenges. Both will humble you. Both will teach you things you didn't even know you needed to learn. But the truth is, they require different versions of you. Elk hunting demands movement, aggression, and adaptability. Mule deer hunting demands stillness, patience, and surgical precision. And if you want to be successful at both, you've got to do more than change tactics. You've got to change your mindset. This is what we do at Backbone Unlimited. We help hunters show up ready for any terrain, any species, and any challenge. We build physical grit, mental resilience, and real-world skill sets that translate when the pressure's on. So if you're serious about stepping up your game, whether you're chasing velvet bucks in the high country or bugling bulls in the timber, consider joining Team Backbone today at backboneunlimited.com. It's more than a membership, it's a mindset and a movement. As a member, you'll get access to our digital vault packed with exclusive training, hunting strategy and mindset content, a private Team Backbone Facebook group with direct access to me and a community of serious, like-minded hunters, an exclusive Backbone Unlimited shirt mailed monthly, only available to members, 20% off everything in the store, including my wildlife prints, monthly gear giveaways, and real support from people who live this lifestyle for real. If you want direction, discipline, and a tribe that pushes you forward, this is where it starts. Again, you can visit backboneunlimited.com and check out Team Backbone or the membership page. Step into the inner circle. Thanks for being here. Until next time, train harder, hunt smarter, and never settle.